Okay, so next question. This question says the second term and the seventh term of the arithmetic sequence are -5 and 10 respectively. So we transfer it to mathematics symbol. The second term stands for T2. The seventh term so means stand for T7. Arithmetic sequence so means we can use Tn equals to a plus n minus 1. This is arithmetic sequence formula. They are -5 respectively, so means -5 is for T2, 10 is for T7. We have to find for 8 term. So this is our first task, find the 8 term, and n means second task, find the smallest value of n, so that the sum of the n term exceeds 500. Okay, so we finish our first task first. What is our T8? So in order to find our T8, we must have A and D. So from these two information, we solve these two simultaneous equations, find out our first term and common difference. So for A, T2, it will be A plus D equals to -5. So for T7, it will be A plus 6D equals to 10. So first equation, second equation. Solve this simultaneous, we use elimination method, where equation 2 can be minus equation 1. A will be cancelled. Fine, we can get our D. So 6D minus D here. So it can give us 5D. Means what? 10 minus -5, negative become positive, it gives you 15. So we get D is 3. After that, we substitute into 1 so that we can get our first term. So our first term, it will be equal to -8. Then our first task, we can answer our first task. For T8, it will be A plus n minus 1, 7. D is 3. Okay, continue. The second task, what's the question asked here? Find the smallest value of n. Find n. Where the sum of the first n term. So they didn't tell us which term is it. So they just say sum of the first n term is Sn. Exceeds means more than 500. So now the question changed to the another concept. It is testing us on Sn concept. So Sn greater than 500. We plug in our formula of Sn, where Sn is equal to n over 2, then 2a. We have our a already, right? So we substitute. Our a here is -8 plus n minus 1 d. So this our n is involving our inequalities, which involving our concept from topic 2. So we apply our concept in solving in inequality. We have to simplify, right? So is it this quadratic or linear? But after you expand here, it's supposed to be quadratic already, right? So we expand here, -16 times this. -16 times that, it will be equal to -8n. Here, 3n times this, it will become 3 over 2n squared. Then -3 times n over 2, -3 over 2n. So quadratic. Move everything to the left hand side. We arrange it into the pattern of ax squared bx plus c. Then we do factorize. Then we do graphing to find out our n value here. Okay, so our quadratic not ready yet. Not ready yet. So simplify our quadratic to the simplest form first. So -8n minus here. And then we notice our quadratic still in fraction. Our coefficient here in fraction. So we have to simplify to be a whole number. So we times 2. Then this quadratic ready to factorize. Or not, fraction we cannot factorize using calculator. So factorize our quadratic here. Then doing our graph method to find out this inequality, what is our n? We can get our roots as, what's your roots? You're getting a decimal, right? Right? So supposedly decimal cannot do in factorization. No? Decimal cannot do in factorization. So this question is a bit like invalid already. The question testing us. Okay. So if you do want to put in fraction, give us. So supposedly here have to do completing the square, change the modulus. So I think for this part, you can refer my YouTube tutorial part, where I change it to completing the square, more accurate. All right, more accurate method to be learned instead of putting decimal, because putting decimal cannot be used in factorization. Okay, so soalan ni memang ada masalah sikit. So nak belajar betul nanti tengok YouTube yang saya buat modulus. Sebab itu kan akan lagi panjang, lagi banyak. Change it to modulus concept. Okay, so we just go through only. So factorization, never mind, you just put like this. Alright. So greater than 0, we know it is the region above x-axis, right? So like this, I want to show you like this. Why I say it is like not very accurate, because when you're having x times x, or not x, when you're having n times n, you're not getting your quadratic 3n square. So your method here, factorization, is not accurate. It's not in correct concept. Okay, but we just go through only. Want to find out the final answer. Let's say next time you get the correct answer, you can get a whole number nicely, then it will be solving like this. So our n value will be less than negative 15.6, or our n value greater than 21.697. So what is our least value of n? Come back to this main concept here. We want to find n. Alright, it's not going to answering still topic 2. So a bit tersesat ke situ dah. Alright, so what is the smallest value of n that we can take? N cannot be negative what? Because the first term, the second term, the third term, it cannot be the negative 1 term, negative 2 term, right? So the smallest value of n will be n equals to 22. Since we can see our n here must be greater than 21.69 something. So the smallest value n that can be suitable to here will be n equals to 22.